Hi everyone, it's Kaylee from Candy Floss and Dreams. Today I wanted to do a little video about something that's come to my attention recently. Well, it's come to my attention a lot, but after a message from a friend, really, about birth, labour, pregnancy. Obviously that's kind of really on my mind at the moment. I am currently 32 weeks pregnant, and throughout the whole of my pregnancy I've been blogging about what's been going on, what everything's like, all my appointments and everything like that. For me, I am trying to have a really positive birth as I possibly can. I had quite a horrible birth last time. Try not to focus on that and get myself into the sort of mind frame that every birth is different. This birth doesn't, just because I had a bad birth last time doesn't mean this one is going to be horrible or terrible or traumatic. And I'm actually really excited, really excited, and I think a lot of that is down to the support I've had, the questions I've asked, the information I've read, and how much I've educated myself. That isn't to say that I don't think anyone else does, because I think that mums, when they're pregnant, especially for the first time, they either kind of go one way or the other. They either read nothing and just kind of go through it, or they read everything they can, and hopefully that impacts their birth in a really positive way. However, I kind of read stuff, spoke to people, found stuff out, but not to the extent I have this time. So yeah, one of the things I really wanted to talk about was maternal rights in pregnancy. Now, I can only speak for myself, I can only speak for what I've researched, and anything I bring up, I would encourage you to speak to your midwife and do your own research as well. I have a high-risk pregnancy, being overweight and having a booking BMI of 45 or 41, I don't remember. I don't know, it's very frustrating. And also having had a previous cesarean with my daughter means I am high risk. However, what is surprising to other people is that I am planning to have a water birth at home with a little pain relief and as little medical intervention as possible. I have made that informed decision based on the research I have done, based on the appointments I've had with my consultant midwife, my actual midwife, my community midwife, and my doula, who I have hired as well. So I feel really informed. I've done a lot of reading about home birth. I feel it's a perfectly safe option for myself, and actually for us it really makes a lot of sense. So one thing I was expecting was a lot of no, a lot of resistance, a lot of we can't let you do that, you're not allowed to do that, because you read so many horror stories of people sort of saying like, well, I'm not allowed that, my doctor said I'm not allowed that, and I've heard that a lot, and it's really sad and it's really upsetting. And I just kind of want to say that if you're ever told by a midwife, a doctor, that you are not allowed to do something, they are giving you wrong information. Now, obviously, every decision that you make needs to be informed. You should always have those discussions with your midwife. You should always have those discussions with your consultant, your GP, whoever it is that is taking care of you medically during your pregnancy. However, what they should be saying is our guidelines or our policy recommend that for your pregnancy you do this. With that wording, that's perfectly fine. They can recommend any procedure, they can recommend any type of help with pain relief, any type of birth plan. They can recommend anything that they think is going to benefit you, and that is absolutely the best way for you to make an informed decision. And they should give you all the correct, up-to-date, research-based information that they can. However, you can decide whether you want to use that information and go along with it, or make your own informed decision based on the research you've read and speaking to your medical professionals and your healthcare team, and actually saying, I think for me this will be best and this is what I would like to try. And that's as far as it is. It is your body, it is your pregnancy, it is your baby, and it is your birth. And I think often we get all caught up in the fact that doctors are telling us this, or midwives are saying this, the guidelines say this, or the hospital policy they say this, and those policies are there for a very good reason. However, you are an individual person, and it kind of doesn't quite go with the whole every single pregnancy, every birth is different. I will give you an interesting conversation, a part of an interesting conversation I had. I was recently told that not because I had a previous cesarean, but because of my weight and my size, my percentage of having a successful natural delivery after having a cesarean was about 15%. Now, that to me really, it kind of shocked me a little bit. However, that 15% is very variable. So even though I was told that there's only a 15% chance that I will successfully have a natural delivery, I am still planning a home water birth. For me, I feel that if I am in my own environment and I have my supportive doula, my partner who is reading up a lot about everything as well, I'm already doing more than the standard amount to give myself a better birth. So that's one big thing. I'm already doing slightly more. So obviously that percentage should go more in my favour. I'm doing hypnobirthing, I'm doing lots of things to work on my anxiety, I've got researched a lot of natural pain reliefs, I'm going to be using aromatherapy, I'm going to be using a TENS machine and water. That is the big thing for me as well. In my hospital, the BMI restriction I think is 35, so I can't use a pool at hospital. And that's fine. It's due to a manual handling issue because they don't have a hoist available, they only have a net available, and therefore if there was anything wrong, if during labour, they might not be able to get me out of the pool. That's a big if, but those guidelines are there for a reason. So because that choice is there and that's their policy, that's absolutely fine. I've decided, well, I'd still like to try water, and therefore I know I can do that at home because there's not going to be any, I've taken that issue away. So yeah, when it comes to your maternal rights, despite your pregnancy, your risk factor, your percentage of having a natural birth, anything, you can opt to choose exactly the type of treatment you receive. Now you might decide that you are happy with an elective or planned cesarean, and that's fine. Your health professionals will help you through with that decision. They will give you all the information and they will help you with that birth. You might decide that actually you'd like to be induced at 42 weeks or 41 weeks or whatever, and that's fine. You can talk to your professionals about that. You might decide, like me, that you want a natural birth after a cesarean, and that on itself has its own risks. You do your research, and based on that research and speaking to your health professionals, you can make an informed decision. That's the important thing here. When it comes to your maternal rights, during your pregnancy, during the birth and labour of your child, you do have rights. Please remember that. So many people feel that they don't, and that it makes me quite sad, because I think it can negatively impact a lot of births. Even if you decide to go with everything that your doctors and your midwives have suggested and recommended, and you feel that they're completely in your best interests, that's absolutely fine. But know that you have rights, know that you have a chance to say no, and know that hospital policies do not mean that they are your policies, and that you can refuse things like inductions, you can refuse glucose tolerance tests, you can refuse scans if you don't want several scans, you can refuse to have cervical examinations every 4 hours, you can refuse to have continuous monitoring and instead have intermittent monitoring by a sonic aid, or going on for a trace every couple of hours. You always have a choice, and there are so many different ways of looking after you during your pregnancy, and it's worth doing your research. I would really recommend reading the Positive Birth book. It's helped me make a lot of my decisions. It's very interesting, and it's all about creating a positive birth as possible. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope this has helped with any maternal rights issues that you might have. Please leave any questions in the comments if you do have any. I am currently writing a book on this topic because I'm very passionate about it, and having a high risk pregnancy, which has actually been relatively straightforward, I wanted to share that just because you're high risk doesn't mean you can't have a positive experience. I hope that you've enjoyed this video. Please subscribe if you have, and if you would like more pregnancy related and birth related content, as that is what I will probably be doing over the next few weeks. Thank you, bye.